In 1985, 5 Holden engineers risked their careers to defy Detroit. They smuggled prototype engine parts out of the factory in gym bags and saved Australia's most iconic V8 from extinction. They launched a secret underground operation that saved critical designs and prototype parts, essentially giving the middle finger to corporate Detroit. Today, I'm revealing the untold story of how these automotive rebels preserved a piece of Australian history while risking their careers in the process. Chapter 1. The Corporate Kill Order. What if I told you that Detroit executives had been planning the 308's death years before anyone in Australia knew about it? While Holden was proudly promoting their homegrown V8 to the Australian public, boardroom meetings in Michigan were already sealing its fate with the stroke of a pen. The corporate kill order for Holden's 308 V8 revealed a calculated strategy beyond GM's public claims about streamlining global operations. Declassified internal memos from 1982 exposed the truth. The Australian engine program represents a potential competitive threat to our North American powertrain strategy. Translation: Detroit was worried that Holden's engineers were getting too good at their jobs. When Australia announced the transition to unleaded fuel in the mid-80s, GM headquarters seized their perfect opportunity. Rather than investing the estimated $15 million to update the 308 for unleaded fuel compatibility, which Holden engineers insisted was entirely feasible, Detroit prescribed a simpler solution: import American V8s already compatible with unleaded fuel. The financial calculations, however, masked deeper motivations. Internal strategy documents from 1983 marked the 308 with a red X, while designating American engines like the Chevrolet small block for global deployment. This decision came despite market research showing overwhelming popularity. A 1984 customer satisfaction survey revealed 92% of Holden V8 owners rated their engine's performance as excellent or very good. Maintaining an independent Australian engine program created what one GM executive called unnecessary redundancies in global powertrain architecture. By importing American V8s, GM could centralize production, simplify parts logistics, and maintain strict control over their global engine hierarchy. A 1985 cost analysis projected a 22% higher profit margin on imported engines versus continuing local 308 manufacturing. The deeper reason behind GM's determination went beyond economics. Allowing Holden to continue developing their own V8 threatened Detroit's control over global engine development. Strategy documents specifically warned against regional autonomy in powertrain development, as it could undermine centralized product planning. If Holden's engineers kept improving the 308, it might expose weaknesses in American engine programs and challenge Detroit's authority. What GM catastrophically underestimated was both the cultural significance of the 308 and the determination of Holden's engineering department. Chapter 2. Engineering Insurgency. Corporate decrees are one thing, but when backed into a corner, Australian engineering ingenuity is quite another. When word of the 308's planned execution reached the engineering department, 5 rebellious Holden loyalists made a decision that would alter Australian automotive history. They simply refused to let their V8 die. Detroit's orders be damned. In the shadow of the Elizabeth plant, these 5 engineers, led by veteran powertrain specialist Mike Simcoe, and including 2 cylinder head experts, a fuel system specialist, and a durability tester, established what they called Project Phoenix. This unofficial skunkworks operation functioned entirely off the books, with team members contributing their own time after official work hours, often late into the night and throughout weekends. Their methods for evading detection were nothing short of ingenious. The team developed an elaborate system of coded communication, referring to their 308 work as historical documentation in all written materials. When GM executives visited from Detroit, prototype parts would mysteriously disappear from workbenches, only to reappear hours after the visitors had left. Testing sessions were conducted at odd hours, with dyno runs scheduled during night shifts when management was guaranteed to be absent. "We had a backup plan for our backup plans," recalled one engineer years later. "When word came that parts were going to be scrapped, we started taking things home. Cylinder heads in gym bags, prototype intake manifolds wrapped in shop rags." During one notorious cleaning operation, ordered by Detroit, engineers smuggled out nearly a complete experimental V8 in pieces over several days, reassembling it in a team member's home garage where development continued in secret. The Shadow Development Program operated under a brilliant cover. Any work on the 308 was officially logged as maintenance on existing field units or emissions compliance research. This creative paperwork allowed the team to requisition materials and use company equipment without raising red flags. Test mules, disguised as standard production vehicles, were often taken for road evaluations that were actually high-speed testing sessions on remote country roads. The personal risk was enormous. Each engineer knew discovery meant immediate termination, and in Australia's tight automotive job market, likely career suicide. Yet their passion for preserving what they saw as a national mechanical treasure outweighed their fear. "If they'd caught us, we'd have been out on our ears," admitted one team member. "But we considered it a matter of engineering honor." Their unauthorized work produced remarkable results. Hidden away in various garages and storage units across Adelaide were the fruits of their rebellion. Complete blueprints for aluminum heads that would have reduced the 308's weight by 18 kilograms, prototype multi-port fuel injection systems that improved both power and economy, and advanced computer models showing potential for extracting over 300 horsepower while meeting emission standards. Perhaps most impressive was a series of after-hours dyno tests performed on an experimental roller cam version of the 308, showing a 15% power increase with no loss in reliability. Tests conducted literally behind locked doors while security guards were told the building was empty for electrical maintenance. Chapter 3, The Revenge Engine. Those late-night dyno tests didn't just vanish into thin air. When the VN Commodore rolled into showrooms in 1988 with its new fuel-injected 5-liter V8, it represented the engineer's quiet revolution, hiding in plain sight. What GM executives in Detroit saw as merely a necessary emissions update was actually the culmination of those clandestine development efforts. Australia's engineering rebellion manifested in metal and moving parts. The numbers tell the story that words couldn't. The power jump from the previous carbureted version was nothing short of remarkable, from a modest 163 horsepower to a very deliberate 221 horsepower, with torque climbing from 240 pound-feet to a muscular 284 pound-feet. This wasn't just a minor update, it was a comprehensive re-engineering project disguised as routine maintenance. The engine's most telling feature was its redesigned cylinder head layout. Earlier 308 versions suffered from a problematic mirrored configuration that created notorious hotspots, making the heads prone to warping under high performance. The VN cylinder heads featured a completely revised inlet exhaust configuration that dramatically improved heat distribution. To Detroit, this might have appeared as a simple reliability enhancement, but Australian enthusiasts recognized it as the direct implementation of designs from the supposedly canceled Advanced 308 program. Engineers had masterfully presented these radical improvements to GM executives as merely minimal compliance updates required for emission standards. What Detroit didn't realize was that these minor adjustments incorporated years of secret development work. The fuel injection system wasn't just bolted on, it was integrated into a comprehensive package that transformed the engine's character entirely. Test drivers reported the difference immediately. One Holden evaluation driver reportedly returned from a test session wide-eyed, saying simply, "This isn't the same engine, not even close." The transformation was so complete that the power plant earned its own nickname, the Iron Lion, a fitting tribute to its surprising ferocity and reliability. Perhaps the most defiant aspect of this engineering rebellion was how the team positioned the engine for HSV models. These special editions featured even more potent versions of the supposedly discontinued engine, pushing output to 241 horsepower and eventually 268 horsepower. Every horsepower above the base configuration was a statement, a reminder that Australian engineering prowess couldn't be silenced by corporate decree. Most revealing was how the supposedly obsolete engine not only matched but often exceeded the fuel efficiency of many contemporary 4- and 6-cylinder options. This wasn't just an emotional victory, it was mathematical proof that the 308's development path had been correct all along. Chapter 4. Legacy of Rebellion. That mathematical proof didn't just gather dust in engineering archives, it became the foundation for a modern resurrection nobody at GM headquarters could have predicted. Today, those obsolete 308 engines are pushing past 600 horsepower in builds that make a mockery of the corporate decision to abandon their development. The Iron Lion roars louder now than it ever did rolling off the production line. Across Australia, a network of specialized workshops has emerged, dedicated to unlocking the potential that GM executives never believed existed. What these modern builders have achieved stands in stark contrast to the corporation's dismissive assessment. Where Detroit saw a dead-end technology, Australian enthusiasts saw untapped potential waiting to be unleashed through modern engineering approaches. These performance specialists aren't just preserving history, they're actively rewriting it. Several key figures in the Australian Holden scene have dedicated their careers to extracting extreme power from the 308 platform. Their workshops have become sacred ground for enthusiasts looking to transform their dinosaur V8s into fire-breathing beasts that can hang with, and often dominate, modern performance engines. The achievements are nothing short of remarkable. Modern 308 builds regularly exceed 600 horsepower while maintaining impressive reliability, figures that would have seemed impossible during the engine's original production run. These builds incorporate advanced cylinder head designs, sophisticated fuel injection systems, and custom camshaft profiles that extract every last bit of performance from the Iron Lion's architecture. Perhaps most fascinating is how these modern builds have been influenced by what survived the corporate purge. The rare prototype parts and design documents smuggled out by those rebellious Holden engineers decades ago have become the secret weapons of today's builders. These artifacts provide invaluable insights into the what could have been paths of development that were abruptly cut short. Modern technology has become the ally of this ongoing rebellion. Through advanced 3D scanning and CNC machining, enthusiasts can now recreate and improve upon those once secret designs. Components that existed only as sketches or one-off prototypes in the 1980s can now be precisely manufactured, effectively allowing modern builders to pick up exactly where Holden's engineers were forced to stop. This isn't just a hobby, it's competitive validation. Modified 308 engines continue to prove themselves in various racing series across Australia. From drag strips to circuit racing, these engines don't just participate, they win, sometimes against machinery decades newer and with far more corporate development behind them. At the heart of this modern renaissance sits what enthusiasts call the Forbidden File, a comprehensive collection of performance upgrades that never made it to production. This roadmap of engineering ingenuity, preserved against corporate orders, has been handed down through generations of builders, each adding their own discoveries to the collective knowledge base. What started as a rebellion has transformed into a living engineering tradition. And so the story of the legendary Holden 308 continues to unfold even today. What makes this engine truly special isn't just its mechanical prowess, but how it remains a vibrant part of Australian motorsport and car culture. From drag strips to burnout competitions, circuit racing to street machines, the 308's distinctive rumble echoes across the Australian automotive landscape. Its enduring presence is a testament to both the engineers who fought for it and the enthusiasts who've kept it alive. The Iron Lion refuses to fade away.